Oh yeah, welcome to the bonus episode of the Permaculture PIMPcast, the only PIMPcast on planet Earth where we discuss permaculture, preparedness, and practical living. And I got to say, it's a real treat because I'm talking to friends today, and some of them you've heard before. You're going to be glad you tuned in because there's going to be some awesome news on this PIMPcast. As always, this episode brought to you by twooldcrowshomestead.com. Turn that simp into a pimp. Bam! Also, Heaven's Harvest, y'all, 10% off with promo code PERMA, P-E-R-M-A. Get all your preparedness needs squared away over there. And if you would like to tip a pimp, go check us out on the Fountain app. You can listen to all your podcasts over there, but you always start, remember, with your recommended daily allowance with your PIMPcast over there. So if you would like to drop some sats over there, which is, I understand it, a derivation of Bitcoin, you can drop some SATs on some PIMPs over there. And if you'd like to leave some comments over there, we'd also pick those up. EMP Shield. Don't forget about them. $50 off with promo code PERMA. Look, your number one problem, well, I would say up until the modern age, your number one problem or threat is going to be lightning, at least as it pertains to your power at the house. EMP Shield handles all that. If anything blows up downstream, 25 G's is what they're going to cover you for. So you want to make sure you got that. Remember, use promo code PERMA, and they'll drop $50 off. And don't forget Heaven's Harvest. All right, y'all. Look, I can't even begin to tell you how excited I am, even though I just spent literally until 5 minutes ago cooking Michelle's birthday dinner, which consisted of chicken marsala and risotto. William's down there finishing it up right now. So yeah, which to her, you know, a birthday is just any other day. But if you can, reach out to her, tell her what's up. So let me give you a little background here, y'all. I was just at the Back to the Land Festival, and both Shelly from Two Old Crows and Jason from Kentucky Sustainable Living were there. And when you go to these things, y'all, it's always literally like a, if you go to the first one, you're going to be like, I don't know anybody. But I guarantee you, by the time you leave there, you're going to make friends. I don't care how introverted you are, you're going to make some friends with some people. And, you know, as always, when you go back to these things, it feels like something of a reunion. It really does, because some of these festivals are yearly, some of them are bi-yearly, and it's funny, when you go from one to the other, you come into some of the same people and you just feel like it's like family. You always, and two extended members of my family are on here right now, and they're going to have some really hot news. And with that said, we're going to bring on Shelly and Jason. How y'all doing?
Great.
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. It's going like a chicken with my head cut off, but that's pretty normal around here. Look, I've been telling everybody, and I've been talking about it on the PIMPcast for a while now, about all the events that show up. Yours is not long away from now, and they got a lot going on. But before we get into that, why don't we have everybody, for those that don't know, Shelly, why don't we start with you? Give them a little bit of background and what brought you to this space.
Let me think. We started getting into homesteading, I don't know, like 5 years ago, I guess. We bought our farm. It'll be 3 years in the spring. I think we've had it. And we bought our place not having any idea what to do about anything. So we reached out to the Pimp Daddy and the pasture raised pimp. And he came out to our place and did a permaculture consultation and got us started on the right path. And we've just been doing it ever since. Randy and I both work full-time jobs, and we still figure out a way to take care of our farm. And if we can do this, anybody can do it.
You know, what's really astonishing about Randy and Shelly, Randy's her husband, and he's something of a genius with these, with the pork that I won't even get into all that, but he saved my bacon at that first Back to the Land thing by cooking all the food for everybody. And then Randy broke some pork belly candy out, and it's like my Scooby snacks. So yeah, you've heard me talk about that before, but I'll tell you folks, for anybody considering this space, I remember it was not long. Shelly, why don't you give them briefly what happened on the way back from that first Back to the Land thing? You just did a big processing with me, and then you come home to something of a tragedy.
Yeah, we had purchased, when we first moved onto our place, we had purchased 3 male piglets, and you know, just to grow out for food or whatever. And we wanted to figure out how to process them, because processors, it's cost too much money. So we went to the Back of the Land Festival. So Billy and William and Darren taught us all how to process a hog. I shot video, paid attention, all of that stuff. And then we came home, and one of our hogs, they were probably at about 125 pounds. One of our hogs had bent over a fence post, and it wasn't a heavy duty T-post. It was one of those ones that's, I don't know, you put them around a garden or something. They're not real heavy duty, kind of thin metal. But I couldn't get this thing out of the ground. And I thought, well, if I can't get it out of the ground, they'll leave it alone. Nope, they didn't leave it alone. And they bent it over at the ground. And what I think happened was, we had a hot wire on the pigs. I think the pig touched the hot wire and flung around and impaled itself on this post. And it was like right here in its throat. And that morning, so that happened on Sunday. That morning, our daughter, while we were at the festival, had come over to feed the pigs, and everybody was fine. Everything was great. And then when we got home, we found this dead hog. And of course, you know, we didn't know how long it had been there or anything like that. And I remember I texted William and I said, I know that I've just had this training, but I have no idea what to do about this. And I said, we don't even have knives. And we tried like every knife in our kitchen. Nothing would cut through that skin. It was crazy. And so William is like sending me these ideas of stuff to try. We ended up, as gory as it sounds, we ended up taking it apart with a chainsaw. And I remember I looked at Randy. I mean, we tried everything. And I looked at Randy and I said, what about your electric chainsaw? Isn't that kind of like an electric knife? You know, not like his great big one, but like the little electric one. And I remember he looked at me and said, I don't even know who you are right now. It was crazy. But I mean, we took it apart and we put that pig in the compost pile. And, you know, we had just gotten started doing the chicken tractor on steroids, and we did it. And that was like after that day, I think I made a video about it. After that day, I was like, I dare somebody to tell me I'm not a homesteader. Like, y'all can go behind in, because I am full on. I had pig on my face. I'm a homesteader.
No, I thought it was, I was like, man, what are the odds? Right. I know exactly the posts you're talking about. They're more for gardening and stuff. But look, folks, this is what you get when you go to these festivals. You get legit. Now, granted, when we do this pig processing at the one they got going on, we won't be using no chainsaws. But
it is Halloween time. I don't know.
Oh, well, you know, I didn't even stop to think about that. So, yeah, I mean, but this is part of what you get at these things. You're getting real deal take home kind of knowledge at a lot of these festivals. Now, there's some of them where it's more like a meet and greet. It's not so much of a how-to, and there's nothing wrong with those, but we got one coming up, folks. If you want to get some of this training, I will be personally helping out. I'll be helping out.
Can I interrupt for a minute?
Sure.
It's not even, I mean, yes, we came to that festival and we got training and all of that stuff, but that wasn't even it. I was able, through the community that we are building, I had somebody to call. Like I had somebody to pick up my phone and say, hey, we're in this mess. We have no idea how to get out of it. And sure enough, he was like, try this, try this, try this. I mean, and he kept texting back and forth until it was completely done. And I think the last text I got was when I was getting ready to go to bed, and I was like, all's good, dude. Thank you for your help. I mean, the community that you will start to build if you start coming to these festivals is invaluable, more so than any of the training that you get. It's what you need.
I've been telling people this all week. I really have. I mean, there's so many that where you go there, you may get filled in terms of being around people that, you know, that for the most part are not going to see you for the weirdo that maybe your family and neighbors might think you are.
Right.
You're going to be around a community of people, like you said, Shelly, that, okay, well, I don't know X, but I know somebody who might know how to get somebody to square me away with X. I don't know how to do Y. And maybe it's just like you said, and the beauty of the communication that we have right now in terms of these phones and some of the other things is that just like that, you might almost certainly get in contact with somebody who maybe they may not know, but I guarantee within that community, there's somebody that knows somebody. I don't care what the problem is. So, Jason, we're going to move on over to you for a moment and give it a little background on yourself. You're a superhero, as always. And he's the only, folks, if you don't know, he's the only human being on planet Earth that has the only known chicken tractor on meth. Not even steroids. He just jumped straight to meth. Somebody's going to try to one-up him, and next thing you know, it'll be a chicken tractor on fentanyl. But right now, the one at the top of the heap is a chicken tractor on meth. So, Jason, why don't you give everybody a little background on yourself?
Well, I'm Jason, Kentucky Sustainable Living. I kind of got into the farming and stuff 7-8 years ago. We got chickens, and of course, that's the gateway drug, like everybody says. And then I told my wife, I'm like, let's get some sheep. And she's like, okay. So we got a few sheep. The sheep have multiplied. Now we had a couple cows. We sold a couple, butchered one of them. Now we got a cow and calf pair. There was a bottle calf that we raised from 2 days old. So she'll probably stay here forever. I can lead her around with a grass string wherever she's at. But we got into that. When you taught the Swales class down at Camden, I came down to that. Didn't really know anything about swales. That's where we first met. And I'm like, this is pretty cool. I went back when you did the guild class, and I'm like, this permaculture stuff is pretty neat. And then I met Shelly along the way, and I saw y'all had done a live with Shelly, and one of our members in Kentucky Sustainable Living, he was saying something. He's like, yeah, one of the members, her and her husband came down, and they were getting a couple pigs from us, and she said something about a YouTube channel. And I'm making connections, and I'm like, I know who this is. I was like, she was on Billy's show. So I'm like getting a hold of Shelly, trying to talk to her. Shelly thinks I'm some crazy guy stalking her and stuff. And I was like, I want to talk to you. I want to talk to you. And that's kind of how the ball got rolling with Shelly and I. And now I consider Shelly family. And the community thing, when she was Friday night, she called me or sent me a text. She was at Back to the Land. I was at my house. And she was like, my 2 boards are out. And I'm like, tell me now. It's like 7 o'clock. I'm like, tell me now if you want me to drive over there and get those in. I was like, don't tell me at 9:30 at night. And she was like, okay. She's like, I think the kids can get them in. So that's part of it, talking about having somebody to call. It's about an hour and 15 minutes apart from Shelly and I, but I was willing to drive up there, get her pigs back in for her. No questions asked. It's call me and tell me what you need to do. And Shelly would do the same thing for me.
That's the beauty about this whole community thing, y'all. Not only are you going to get good training, good exposure, and ask some subject matter experts on a number of things, but you're going to find exactly what we're talking about. This is the one element I think that is so missing in a lot of the homestead world, is that all of us feel like we're just kind of alone in our own little enclaves, no matter where we are. And unfortunately, you can't pick your neighbors, but you're going to find out, I don't care how introverted you may be, you're going to find out that when you go to these festivals, when you go to anything like this, you can take the most introverted person. In fact, one of the methods I use is that I will proactively look for the shyest person I can find, and I always begin the conversation. So folks, use this method when you go to one of these. If you're shy, just go up, smile, go up to them and say, what do you do? Now, it's not going to be like what you run into in a lot of places where people are asking what you do for a living. They're already going to know that what you're talking about is, are you homesteading? Are you in this space? And just like that, you will turn, whether it's you yourself or whether it's somebody else, you will turn the most introverted person into an extrovert, because they are now, for maybe the first time ever in their lives, in their journey, being able to talk to people that will absolutely understand positively, without a doubt, where they're coming from. And you're going to run into a lot of those people. And I see it every single time that I go to these. Now I ran in, just a little background, y'all. I ran into Shelly and Jason both at different gatherings. Whether it was SOE, whether it was Back to the Land, it didn't matter. We all met there. And then in subsequent events, we've met again and again and again. And they've built their homesteads, and they've gotten to the point where, before we get into the main event here, I want y'all to tell everybody, in terms of this community, what you guys processed, because we worked on a pig before, but you kicked it on up and did something a lot bigger than a pig. Why don't you talk about that, Jason?
We at my place, we've done pigs, chickens, and beef. So the last big thing that we butchered this year was beef, and I butchered one. There's an older couple that are kind of from the mountains a little bit, and they do everything the old ways is how they do everything. He cures his country hams with nothing but salt and brown sugar. That's all he does, and he's got a smokehouse. He taught me how to butcher beef and how to butcher pigs, doing the old way. So we had butchered one other beef at my house. They'd come down, showed us how to do it. We did everything here. And then we did another one this last winter, and I told Shelly, I'm like, we're going to butcher this beef. And she was like, all right, I'm down for it. So it took some doing. It's a lot more than doing a pig for sure. But, I mean, you know what the animals had to eat. It's not been shot up with antibiotics, anything like that. It's had pretty much grass its whole life and some grain just to keep it coming to you and keep it tame. So we've done that. We've done a whole beef at my shop.
That's what I'm talking about, y'all. So they graduate from chickens to pigs, and this is the sheep, and then, you know, a cow. I mean, I don't know what you're going to get any bigger than that. I mean, we don't have elephants over here. Giraffe, you know what? Hey, I've been known. I'll eat anything, bro. I've eaten Cudamonde down in Panama. So giraffe, you name it, I'll eat it. From the rooter to the tutor, we'll find something to do with it. If nothing else, it'll wind up in a compost pile with the things we don't necessarily use in it. So all of this led, as I understand it, you guys are building a thriving community there in Kentucky, and I can't wait to meet some of them. So all of this experience has kind of gotten itself into the point where you guys are putting on your own festival, and I'm thoroughly looking forward to it. And if anybody wants to go there, we're gonna give you all that information. But it's a little bit different than most. So, Shelly, why don't you talk to us about how this was conceived and what you were trying to do with this festival? Why don't you give us, you know, how did this begin? I mean, you were both of you were festival goers, and then you got to the point where you built this community there, and now it's off to the point where, bam, we're going to do a festival. Why don't you talk us about the? Why don't you tell us how that all began?
It actually, I think it was like last spring at SRF. Isn't that where it all started? Well, we were just sitting around talking, and we had talked a little bit. I mean, you know, Jason and I before that had been like, it would be neat to do a festival in Kentucky, but neither one of us had ever done anything like this before. And I mean, where I work, I help with events and stuff that they have at work, but nothing to this scale or, you know, that kind of thing. But we were sitting around talking at SRF in the spring, and people, like, the more we talked about it, people were like, well, I'll come. And I remember Tag, he was like, well, just let me know when it is. I'll be there. And I mean, just like, it's almost as if all of the pieces just started falling into place. Like, after we got home and we really sat down and looked at it and was like, can we do this? We found the venue like that. And then we found, I mean, Jason has found all kinds of sponsors. You know, I mean, Jason can talk to anybody. He does not know a stranger. And he found all kinds of sponsors. And our friend Jake, who is in with this, helping us too, Jake found, he's always finding stuff for people to donate for a drawing and all that kind of thing. And I do all the computer side of it and the marketing stuff and all of that. And even the speakers that we have, it just blows my mind that we're like, you know, we would call somebody up and they're like, yeah, I'll come do it. Yeah, I'll come do it. I mean, it's really just the way it all came together. It was almost too easy. Like, I keep waiting for something to go wrong because everything has gone so right. And I don't mean to speak negativity into the atmosphere or whatever, but you know, it's everything has just come to you know, into the way it's supposed to be.
The big thing you forgot, Shelly, is I'm having deja vu on this. We had done a live, us three, on Billy's channel, and when we got off, we were talking, and Billy is like, y'all need to do a festival. And I laughed so hard, I'm like, he must be drunk or something to tell us we need to do a festival. I'm like, there's no way in the world we can do a stupid festival. So, Billy, you planted that seed in there. And I thought you were crazy when you told me that. I'm like, this guy's lost his ever-loving mind.
Well, he even said that he said, if you do a festival, I'll come. And then you started saying that like you weren't doing anything. Like 2023, you weren't going anywhere. You were done. You were, spending time at home and getting work done at home. And Jason kept calling me and he was like, Billy said he would come. And I was like, but Billy's saying that he wants to stay home. Like,
no, I gave my word. And, when I do it, I like to think that it's good.
right.
And so, I was going to go, but at the same time, yeah, there was also this, I wouldn't call it fatigue. It was like I had done so many festivals that I was just like, okay, I really got things that need to get done here. There's expansion I want to do. There's all these other things. And I honestly said, I'm pretty much done for 2023. And then I was like, okay, well, I think I may not have called that one right because I don't have a whole lot of friends that are nearby me, and a lot of other folks don't either. I mean, where I live, it's basically going to be your, nouveau almondine, thin crust, bottled water, deep fried, city food kind of people. And, that's really not who I run with. And I don't leave much. And I'm like, okay, every time I go to one of these things, I'm like, it's hard to get me out. Yeah. And I'm sure everybody knows what I mean if you've ever been to one of these things.
Yeah.
It's like every time you go there, the conversations you have, the people you meet, all these it's like I'm living in a Dr. Seuss book. The people you meet and in all the good ways. So basically, yeah, I was kind of resigned to basically stay at the house for this year. But, Darren hit me up about it too. And he's like, hey, yeah, I'm like, dude, there's no way. And then when you guys said you had going on with the VIP thing, I was already on board. But when you told me about that, I'm like, okay, not only am I on board, man, I'm going to do everything in the world I can to help promote this thing. There's no two ways about that. So why don't you tell everybody you got a little special event going on there as well. Jason, Shelley, when do you want to pick up what that's all about?
Well, we're having a charity dinner. And all the proceeds are going for Vets for Child Rescue. And I can tell you the financials on it. It's $250 a ticket, and $200 of that $250 ticket is going to Vets for Child Rescue. The other $50 is to pay for the event space and the meal. So we're not making a dime on that. The $50 covers meal and the event space. But I'd heard about Vets for Child Rescue from you, Billy, because you had talked about it a bunch. And I wanted to do something for a charity event and have something to where people could come in, talk to the speakers and the speakers of the festival and eat dinner with them and kind of have their ear for a few minutes. And I said, let's do Vets for Child Rescue. Shelley was on board, and I was like, we've got to get a hold of somebody. So I know I sent you a message. I'm like, hey, do you know anybody there? And you're like, no, I don't know anybody personally. So I just called, or I left an email with Vets for Child Rescue. The lady called me back that runs everything, and she said, what do you want from us? And I said, I want permission to use your logo on advertising and permission to give you a check when we're done. And she goes, that's all you want? And I was like, yes. I said, I don't want anything. And she said, yeah, let me get you a hold of Forrest Seeley. So Forrest calls me. Forrest and I have become fast friends now. Forrest handles the business and administrative part of the organization. And I told Forrest what we were doing. He was like, yes. And he said, I will promote it as much as I can. We've done a couple lives with Forrest. I've done a live on his channel with him. And he's actually probably going to come in for the event also.
How cool is that, y'all? I was already on board because Jason and Shelley are my friends. And, I'll if I call somebody a friend, believe me, y'all, I'll move sun and moon. That's sometimes bit me in the butt in the past, but I have no doubt this is going to be everything. I'm not even slightly worried about that sort of thing with these guys because I know they're legit and it's going to go where they say it goes. And you can take that to the bank quite literally. I'll be honest with you. That was one of the biggest selling points for me that said, okay, boy, you got to put foot to butt on this, get this thing done. Folks, I bought a ticket. I think I may have bought two. I don't even know. I know for sure. I bought two. Mm-hmm. Okay. So I guess maybe I'll have to, you know what? Maybe I'll just raffle off one of them things because I think I'm going to be the only one going because the very first day of that, my grandchild's supposed to be born. But William clearly ain't going to be there for this one. See, yeah, maybe I can do something about that ticket. So anyway, hey, look, y'all, I'm putting my money where my mouth is. I got 2 tickets, and I'm going to be there. So I'm going to highly encourage, if you're able. I know of one guy who is not even going to be there, and he bought a ticket.
Yep.
So that's the kind of folks you gather to these kind of events. It's really something else. So, you know, Shelly, why don't you give us a rundown of what people can expect? I mean, what the venue is, you know, maybe an overview of what's going to happen during these things.
So the venue is the Western Kentucky University Ag Expo Hall. It's over on the western side of Bowling Green. You can get to it right off the interstate. At the facility, there are camping spaces for like RVs. I'm not sure. I think she said no tents. Didn't she say no tents?
Yeah, no tents.
And no campfires. So don't think about starting a campfire. But you can pull up an RV or a travel trailer or something, and there's water and electric. There's showers. There's no septic, but I mean, and for the campsites, there's showers inside the building and a bathroom, and that will be, you can have access to that all weekend. There's also in the area, there's a KOA campground. There's all kinds of hotels in Bowling Green. There's not a lot of hotels that's at the same exit because it's kind of agricultural out there, but the next exit right up I-65, there's all kinds of hotels up there that you can find. The rundown it's 2 days, the October 28th and 29th. There's no cost to get into the festival. Some of the speakers that we'll be having is Erin T. Scott is going to be one of them. I don't know if you all are familiar with her, but Billy has interviewed her before. And oh my gosh, she's like an incredible wealth of knowledge. Go check out her YouTube channel. She's going to be talking about why we homestead. And if we have time, she's going to be talking about women in homesteading. We have a young lady named Emily Rock that's going to be talking about homestead dairy and how to select a dairy cow and all that kind of stuff for your homestead. She's going to have her cow there to demonstrate. You'll get to practice milking her and all that kind of stuff. Greg Brand is going to be there talking about pasture management, and he is actually friends with Greg Judy. He teaches at Greg Judy's place, but he lives like just south of Jason over in Bowling Green.
He's about 30 minutes away from me.
Yeah. And then Bruce DeVries, I don't know if you met him or not, but he has been at SRF, and he makes leather goods. Absolutely phenomenal leather goods. And but he's also going to be teaching about biochar. He is an amazing teacher. Like, he's just really good at, you know, conveying information and stuff. I love listening to him, and I learn so much when I'm around him. Tag is going to be there from Life Done Free. He's going to be talking about community. Grumpy Acres is going to be there teaching about food preservation. Andy's Little Homestead he's on Facebook. He has a huge following on Facebook. He's going to talk about homesteading on a budget. We've got Bill Stormfeather that is going to be teaching about the first 30 days of what happens. He's had the, I don't know if you call it the opportunity, but he's been in other countries that have had economic collapse. And he's going to talk about like what to expect in those situations. And then we've also got Jeff Smith, who is the everyday prepper. And he's going to be talking about like old timey tools and things like that, you know, how to restore those things and use those things. We've got Enos Zook that's going to be doing trapping. Jake Drum is going to be talking about medical stuff. Eric Johnson is going to be there from Porterhouse and Teal. Eric is going to be teaching a guild class on Friday. That's one of our pay classes. That class is $150, and you can get the information from KentuckySustainableLiving.com to get that class. And then we've also got Chuck Peoples, who is going to be teaching homestead medicine on Friday. That's an 8-hour class. Y'all, the class is $250. It is well worth $2,000. I mean, it's a phenomenal class. You will go away from there. It's not like CPR, first aid, that kind of thing. It's learning how to figure out what's going on with somebody, learning all the tools, you know, not those automated things that you see in the ER, learning how to use a stethoscope, and I mean, just all of that kind of thing. he's going to teach you how to take care of somebody. If you have to take care of them for a month and they have a wound or something, how to deal with that. Whatever you want to know, he's going to tailor that class to what it is you want to get out of it. He's a phenomenal teacher. He's also going to be teaching a Stop the Bleed class on Sunday. That's a 4-hour class. Matt and Gabby Hunley are going to be there. We're hoping that you will be signing some books with Matt. If people want to pick up a scrap steading book, I was getting ready to pull mine out, but it's in my bag over there. I'm sorry. I should have had it with me. But if you want to get that book and get it signed, you'll have Billy there and Matt. Matt's going to be talking about, oh my gosh, it has left me. Gabby's going to be talking about things to, ways to make money on the homestead. And I'm at a loss as to what Matt's going to be talking about. I'm so sorry.
Whatever it is, I'm sure it'll be worthwhile.
Yeah, I mean, the kid is so stinking smart. He knows so many things about so many things. And then Tina and Chris Clark is going to be there. Chris is actually going to do our, what do you call that, MC? Is that what that is? Like announcing and stuff. He did a great job at the Back to the Land Festival. And then he's going to be talking about doing solar setup on your homestead. And then Tina is going to be talking about building community, because I don't know if you follow them or not, but Tina has done, her and I think there's like a couple other people, they have built this phenomenal community down there in the Hickman County. And it's a group of homesteaders. They meet once a month. It's phenomenal. Like, I'm on their Facebook page and just watching the stuff that they do. I'm like, doggone, I wish I lived. I mean, I love Kentucky, but I wish I lived in Hickman County. But I may have left somebody out. I'm sorry if I did. Oh, I know who I left out. Darren and Billy are going to be doing a hog processing, and they're going to teach you all how to do that. And by hog processing, I also mean they're going to be doing a rabbit processing too.
Chicken.
So sorry, not rabbit, chicken. So you'll get to see both of those too. And yeah, that's it.
That's what I'm talking about. There's a lot going on, folks, and it's the thing with Chuck Peoples alone. Shelly's not at all embellishing. I mean, the dude hooked me up with a tourniquet one time. You're going to be glad you went to all this stuff, and that's one of those things in the preparedness world that a lot of people leave out because it doesn't seem so sexy. Yep. You know, it's not like ham radio. It's not like weapons. It's not like all these other things. And I'm so glad to hear that some of these folks are going to be here. Porterhouse, I haven't seen him in forever and a day. Glad to see that he's going to be there doing a swale, or what did you say? He's going to be doing a guild class.
Guild class, yeah.
And see, folks, this is exactly, in fact, one of the best guild classes I've seen, believe it or not, was actually Shelly and Jason did it. So it's amazing what you start with and what you do with it. So, folks, you may show up at one of these as an attendee. Don't be so shocked if a little bit later, if you bring something to the party, that you're not a presenter at one of these things. And that's not why we do it. It's a cross-pollination of the information that we all have. There's a whole lot of holes in my game. I've been at this preparedness and permaculture thing for a long, long time, but I have a serious gap in the knowledge that I currently have. Every time I go to one of these, I guarantee I am leaving there with more friends, people I can call friends, and B, a new way of thinking about something or something else entirely that I didn't even know that should demand my attention. So I'm looking forward to being there. Can't wait to see so many of those people. Aaron T. Scott, wicked smart, probably the most suppressed person on YouTube. They blasted one of her YouTube channels, and believe me, folks, she has a lot of awesome things to say. So you're going to want to go there. I've been talking about these festivals. I've been going at it nonstop on these podcasts because it's really that important. We're in a time in America, in the United States of amnesia, we are at a time where you better get loose or get lost because things are starting to become really real. Jason, let me kick it on over to you a minute. Good night, bro. What are you guys are you going to be sedating yourself when you're trying to, or you're one of the, how are you guys going to get through all this? Because clearly there's a lot of moving parts here and it's going to be in Bowling Green. So how are you going to manage this?
There are a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of our members from KSL that are going to volunteer and help us out, doing stuff, taking tickets at the door, selling raffle tickets, just making sure everything's done. And I'll tell you, Shelly was going over the speakers. One of the big things I'm kind of disappointed about is I really wanted to do your talk. And one of the biggest things I got from you was feeding your livestock for free. I kind of wanted to talk about that because we've talked several times at some of these festivals, and you were talking about this, how you're feeding your chickens and pigs for free. And I'm like, man, there's something going on with that. And I took it and I ran with it. And we're feeding our chickens and pigs 90 to 95% for free off food scraps. And
awesome.
So hopefully I might get a minute to come up there and tell people, because that is an awesome concept that people can really put to use and really take it back home and do it. And no matter where you live, you can find those sources to do it at. So, but yeah, it's going to be a wild time. I've already scheduled to take Monday off after the festival, and I'm probably going to lay on the couch for a few hours and just relax on that.
I understand that you probably got is there an entertainment thing going on there? I know there was a kid that was supposed to be playing.
Don's grandson.
Yeah, we need to get with Don's grandson, because you're supposed to be doing a duet with him or something, aren't you?
Yeah, and I'm over here struggling because I'm trying to figure out, he's hitting me up about the song, and I'm like, man, I don't know what I'm going to do. I can't sing. I ain't no good at it. So I'm probably going to get up there.
I hear.
Well, I'm going to get up there and I'm going to totally embarrass myself, but it's always for a good cause. I'd sit up there and let people throw bean bags, or what do they call them things? They don't call them bean bags anymore. They call them, that cornhole. Well, ain't nobody cornholing me. You know what's in them little bags. Yeah, them. I don't know why they ever thought of. I'm just going to go sideways here. I don't know who in the right mind named that game, because where I come from, that means that's something totally different. And I'm like, they're like, you want to? I remember guys asking, you want to play? Then no, I believe I'm gonna pass on any game called that. But yeah, I basically let them throw darts at me for all the wonderful causes that are going to be going on here.
You can get up there and do some Snoop Dogg.
Yeah.
Hey, I didn't think about that. But I can't engage in any of the profane stuff, but that's something really cool to think about. But this is going to be one of those times where I can actually go to a festival and talk to some folks out there and say hi. And a lot of times I'm usually running like a chicken with my head cut off, and this time the only head that's getting cut off is that pig we're going to process. So we're going to get that done.
You called me when you found out about the Vets for Child Rescue, and you told me that, whatever I needed you to do, that you would do it, that it was fine. And I told Jason, I said, he comes to these festivals every time and is just like, everybody's talking to him. He's teaching classes. He's running around. Everybody has his attention. And I said, I would just really like for him to just come and hang out with some folks. So I hope you get to enjoy yourself and not have to be, running around like that. That's my hope anyway.
No, it always works out that way, but it's always a joy, because one of the things that I really love about this is all the new people coming into this space. Yeah. These are folks that ordinarily would have never left their suburban home, or never would have left where they were living in this high rise in the city. And we're seeing folks get into this, and they're hungry. I'm like at the last festival, I'm sitting here talking to these young kids. One of them was 28, the other was 32. Yeah. And I don't recall their names, but they were sitting here wondering, okay, how do I get into this? And they're literally coming up hat in hand, like, okay, where do I start? I'm like, look, right here. This is where you start. And so, maybe it's young people that show up to festivals like this, don't even know what questions to ask right off. And seeing all these people getting into this space, because I'll be honest with you, it wasn't, I don't know, 8 years ago, we couldn't give away a butcher's class. We couldn't give it away. And now I'm hoping that we can train so many people that, like y'all did, you get out there, you get your training, and then you're doing your own classes. You have Chris and his wife, Tina. They sent me, I was literally having something of a existential moment where I was thinking, okay, man, do I even want to do this YouTube thing anymore? Do I want to teach anymore? Because it doesn't look like a whole lot of people are really getting involved. And then out of the blue, Tina sends me this picture of Chris teaching an entire class how to butcher. And I was like, I was literally on the ropes of like, there's a whole lot of things I can do. I'm retired. I don't need to do this. I just didn't feel like I was seeing any fruit for it. I'm like, I think maybe I'll just go do something else. I mean, it doesn't look like people are all that interested. She sent me that, and it made me rethink my whole role in this. So that's one awesome and beautiful thing about going to these things. But it's really the community you're going to find out. Yeah. And y'all tell me if I'm wrong. Every single time you go to one of these, I don't care how far away it is. Look, I will bet a buffalo nickel if you rode all the way in from Arizona, you're going to, believe it or not, you're going to find somebody in Arizona that probably lived down the road from you. Every single time we do these things or go to these, every single time it happens. So you're definitely going to see that.
I got an email from somebody a couple of days ago that said they're coming in from Oklahoma. So they're coming from Oklahoma to Kentucky to come to our festival. And I'm like, it kind of blew me away. I'm like, this is a first time thing and you're going to come from Oklahoma. So
I think people are to the point now, Jason, where they're willing to go as far as they need to go to get the information they need to have.
Yeah.
I think things are becoming that consequential. Our dollar's worth less, but like you said a moment ago, look, folks, when you're there, go talk to Jason, go talk to Shelly. They've both done the chicken tractor or chicken track either on meth or on steroids, either one has been done. But these are people that have literally put foot to butt and are feeding their own animals for free. This is where you go to get that knowledge. It's things like this where you can't pass it up because you don't know when things may jump off or if they jump off. But like Jack Spirko always says, it's a way to live if times get tougher, even if they don't. But you know what? I got a feeling that there's a whole lot of people. And man, I really hope you know what? I'm going to say it anyway, Shelly. I'm going to take I don't want to speak anything bad into it, but I'm wondering how many people are going to wish they showed up to something like this. And then they're going to find themselves in a bind and then be a month down the road or maybe a day or a week thinking, oh, good night, man. I wish I would have just took the time off from work to just go to this thing because here I am in a bind right now. I wonder how many people are going to wind up being that way.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And another big thing, Billy, we hadn't touched on our vendors that we've got coming. We've got vendors. We've got a blacksmith that's going to be there selling blacksmith stuff. I talked to him yesterday. He was making trivets and stuff to sell to people, handmade. We've got another guy that makes custom knives. We've got Nifty Hoops coming out of Michigan. They're a smaller mom and pop hoop house company. They're going to have a full-size greenhouse set up in the arena that you can see and look at and talk to the owners of the company. We've got a shed company coming in that does the portable sheds. Everybody, a lot of people are buying a piece of ground. They're like, we want to do a tiny house, but we don't know who we can trust to do it. We've talked to these guys, and they're a bigger outfit that cover a lot of Kentucky. They're going to be there with 2 different sheds that you can look at. Bobcat, a Bowling Green, is going to have they're going to have 4 pieces of construction equipment that you can look at, set on, and all that. We've got Grumpy's going to be selling freeze-dried food. We've got Chuck and Jake are also going to be selling medical stuff. So if you've got a question, instead of ordering a bunch of crap off Amazon that you don't really know if you're going to need, you can talk to Chuck and be like, Chuck, I was looking at these things. Do I need this? Chuck could save you some money saying this stuff is junk. You'll never use it, but go ahead and get this. And Chuck and Jake both will have their booths, and you can purchase stuff right then and there. So if you come, just a vendor, there's tons of other vendors I'm forgetting, but if you got something that you want, if you're interested in something there, it's going to have a place to buy it and somebody to talk to about it instead of just buying it online. And when you spend money with these people, they think like you do, so you're not giving your money to people that hate you and the things you believe in.
Man, that means everything. It really, really does. As far as vendors, are you going to have like food trucks and stuff out there, or people just going to go to Bowling Green to go get something to eat, or how's that? Is there any?
Western's one of Western's policies is they do concessions there, and that's one way they keep the event space a little bit cheaper, and they make the money on the concessions. So they will have concessions there throughout the day where you can do their concessions. But there's tons of restaurants 5 minutes up the road. I mean, there's Pizza Hut, McDonald's, Dunkin' Donuts, Mexican restaurants just 5 miles up the road. So, and your waffle guy actually, and I meant to send you this. He got in a wreck, and his thing was totaled right after he left back to the land.
Oh no, the slothful waffle guy?
Yeah,
Oh.
somebody rear-ended him.
Oh.
So you got the last waffle out of that deal.
You got to be kidding me, man. This is like when Stevie Ray Vaughan died, man. This is a real tragedy, y'all.
That's awful.
I mean, this is crazy. This dude, he is an absolute alchemist when it comes to making these waffles.
His waffles with bacon on them. Oh my God.
Yeah, he puts the bacon up in there. Oh my goodness, man. I'm ready to play a requiem instead of the outro music, man. This is messed up. This guy, folks, if you ever get a chance, well, you talk about if there was ever a person I'm ready to go out there and put myself on the line to go do a GoFundMe, it's for this guy. Because the waffle guy, I mean, folks, I know you're thinking, well, how good could a waffle be?
Oh, y'all.
Oh,
it's amazing. It's
I don't
amazing.
know. This dude is the ultimate hooter bandit that is sat down forever and a day trying to devise the perfect waffle. In fact, no matter the event, 150 of them. Yeah, you get it. He does 150 of them for the event, and when he's out, no, he ain't making up any more batter. That's it. That's done. Yeah. So this guy's, oh my goodness, Jason, this is like, oh man, this is like when John Lennon died, dude. I don't know what. This is crazy. Okay,
surely
so
I'm going to be able to get another trailer, right? I mean, surely.
Yeah, I would hope, but it's going to be a little while.
You know what? I might just I got his phone number. I might have to reach out to this dude and just see if there's something I can't do. We got to get him back on his feet, man, because, yeah, folks, if you don't know Slothful Waffle, yeah, that's another one of the things. You go to these events and you'll meet some pretty interesting characters like my man working that waffle truck. And honestly, Jason pointed out something, too, I didn't consider. Vendors. Man, it's amazing how many ideas you get from these vendors, whether you're purchasing something from them, learning more information, or there's been a twist on things I saw some of these vendors have where I thought, I can make that at the farm. I don't know if I want to pay money, but the idea was seeded by seeing what somebody else had. Yeah. So
there's about 40 different vendors that'll be there.
Wow, that's going to be quite a few.
We tried to get a wide spread, like we've got a ham radio guy coming in. We've got Bruce DeVries is going to have his leather goods for sale. There's a knife guy. There's
tornado shelter.
Yeah. There's a kid that I used to work with that does laser engraving stuff and makes signs. He made this sign for me behind me up here. I mean, there's tons of different and homesteading booths. A lot of the homesteaders want to come in and do that. There's going to be a chick there selling herbal tinctures and salves and stuff like that. And it's a whole, like, if you don't find something to buy, then I don't know. I don't even know what to say.
And we're trying to fuse that homestead and prepper thing that you've talked about before, because it's concentric circles that meet, and you need to, there's so much overlap in it. It's like, let's not just do the homesteading part. Let's do the preparedness part also, because it just coexists with each other.
It should. I mean, and all these things should overlay with one another, but I never for the life of me didn't understand why it had to be one or the other. It can be all of the above. And it looks like, now, let me also ask, is this going to be a family event? Because there's going to be a lot of people, I'm sure, that want to bring their kids.
Yes. And we're going to have some activities for the kids, too. It won't be an all-day thing. It's not going to be like a babysitter there or whatever, but we're going to have activities for the kids to do. So, yes, totally family-friendly event.
Okay. Yeah, people are going to want to know that. There's other events going on where, it's really meant for the adults and stuff like that, but this ain't one of those. So folks, you can get out there. It's a free event unless you want to get one of the classes, which I highly recommend. Folks, you want to go to this event. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be helping out, and I'm going to be saying hi and trying to get to know as many people as I possibly can at this thing. I'm not anybody special, but it's always a joy to hang out with everybody there. So if you're a fan of the PIMPcast, fan of the YouTube channel, you know where I'll be found. Shelly, where can everybody, or Jason, where can everybody go to find out more information?
So the festival, we have a website that's KentuckySustainableLiving.com. It has all of the information, all of the classes. You can sign up for classes there. You can get tickets to the Vets for Child Rescue charity dinner. we've even got a button on there where you can donate money. If you can't, get to the dinner or whatever, and you want to donate $10 or $2 or $20, whatever, you can donate however much you want to. You can also find us on Facebook. There's a Facebook page for Kentucky Sustainable Living, and there's like an event page, but we've been updating the Facebook page daily with any kind of new stuff happening. And we've been pushing out ads and stuff from that to get it out there to spread the word. So if you see any posts from Kentucky Sustainable Living on Facebook, it would be so awesome if you would go share it. Even if you can't attend or whatever, even if you're in a surrounding state, I push it out to probably about a dozen different states. And just like Billy said, you'll go to these things and you'll meet people, from wherever you're at, you're probably going to meet somebody who lives there. You're probably going to meet somebody who lives within 30 minutes of you. Yeah.
You're going to find some serious community there. Hey, thanks so much, Jason and Shelly. Folks, be there. I am definitely going to be there, and I'm absolutely looking forward to it. Till next time, stay alert, stay alive.